Is Peterson afraid that the revolutionary nature of Bitcoin? It would seem that Jordan Peterson is the first important voice at Bitcoin 2022 to provide a challenge to the unbridled enthusiasm that is prevalent across the Bitcoin community. As an alternative to harsh criticism, Peterson gave sobering recommendations about the practice of making forecasts. We would like to take this opportunity to thank you for considering making our channel a frequent destination for information. Simply clicking the bell icon and subscribing to this channel will allow you to get notifications through email or push notifications whenever new material is published on this channel. At the Bitcoin 2022 conference in Miami this afternoon, the clinical psychologist hosted a fireside conversation that attracted a packed crowd to the main stage. The first thing that Jordan Peterson brought up in his speech was Bitcoin's enormous potential. In spite of the fact that he recognized Bitcoin's promise, he issued a warning about the currency's potential for unintended consequences in the event that it ultimately replaced all other currencies, as well as the existing monetary system and central banks. Peterson expressed his concern that changing the foundation of money and the monetary system would have far-reaching repercussions that are currently difficult to anticipate, and that not all of these impacts would be desirable or even foreseeable. He also expressed his concern that these repercussions would have a negative effect on the economy as a whole. He gave the impression that this was something that was giving him cause for concern. He then went on to say that Bitcoin is an experiment, but that it is not precisely what one would call a modest experiment. The politicians and bureaucrats of a nation's government, who now have authority over the nation's money, would lose some of their influence if those politicians and bureaucrats were removed from their positions of control over the nation's currency. In answer to the inquiry as to what would take place if monetary control was scattered, he pondered, "We don't genuinely know what would happen if monetary control were disseminated." In addition to this, he expressed concern about the possibility of the irreversibility of the results in the event that Bitcoin came to dominate the market. Peterson has said that he is unsure as to whether or not this is a favorable turn of events. He reasoned that it was very implausible that Bitcoin or anything else of equivalent magnitude would have nothing but positive effects, and that this was the conclusion he arrived at. Despite this, Peterson was convinced that he advocated for unrestrained markets and a limited role for the government in the economy. His claim that free markets are an existential imperative was strengthened by the fact that he used the history of the 20th century as evidence in favor of his position. He claimed that a community's overall health would suffer with the implementation of centralized economic planning. That is basically impossible with Bitcoin, he stated. Bitcoin is not designed to support that. Peterson has lately expanded his focus to include Bitcoin, and he has recorded podcasts with a number of influential people who are in favor of Bitcoin. His dramatic rise in prominence as a public thinker, writer, and YouTuber who also has a degree in clinical psychology has occurred over the course of the last several years. In addition, he holds a degree in clinical psychology. In 2016, he made headlines for speaking out against Canadian Law C-16 on the grounds that the section in the bill prohibiting discrimination based on gender identity would result in forced speech. His argument was based on the fact that the clause in question would result in compelled speech. His position was that the measure would have the effect of coercing people into speaking. We would appreciate it if you would share your comments in the comment box. If you like watching this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any new uploads. Many thanks for your support. If you have something to say, please leave it in the comments box.